Okay. What are you like? Sure.
Howdy, nice to have you on. I haven't seen you this year.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm actually in the UK, sir.
Ah, okay. You got locked now in the UK.
Yes, sir.
I think we go.
Alafia, my journey.
Oh, no one UK. I bet I lost UK me.
Not at all. What can happen, Ben?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, as soon as the border is open, we're on our way back.
You'll be back home by God's grace. That's very long. Yeah. Okay, this is becoming interesting. Okay, we have Dende, nice to see you. We have a few people from the UK as well.
Hello.
Dende, my brother, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. How is your family?
Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine.
You remember my cousin, Kyle Sonny, that we were in Nottingham together?
I can't really remember.
That's a long time.
Kyle just joined as well. Kyle, they will not see Dende. Dende
Karen
we
were
in Nottingham
yeah, I remember
together.
the name.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
How do I know?
Mr. Pokubo, nice to have you with us.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 46 participants now.
Leave it like this.
Anyway. Anyway, I'm going to hand over to you.
Okay, sir. Can we start now?
Yes, by all means. I'm going to mute everybody or mute yourself and then start.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear them now?
Chinwe, please unmute yourself. Chinwe, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. We thank you for joining our community engagement series, the fourth of its kind. We would like to start with an opening prayer. If Father in the Lord, I saw Reverend John Taiwo.
Venerable
John Taiwo, I'm so sorry, sir. Please, can you unmute yourself and lead us in an opening prayer? Thank you, sir.
Eternal God, we appreciate the opportunity to have another grace to meet on this platform. We thank you for men and women of knowledge that thou hast endowed. We also bless you for this great opportunity. We pray that this opportunity will not go without fulfilling what you have sent it for. Bless us again. Give us the blessing that will come from above, that thereafter we may live our life to please you and to glorify your holy name. Bless the organizers and continue to shower your blessings upon them. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir, for the prayers. Welcome everyone again. Our Daddy in the Lord has already done that. We want to specially recognize the presence of our fathers in the Lord who joined us this evening. And then for every one of you, you're very important to us. This is the St. Augustine's Anglican Church, Anthony Village Community Engagement Series. This is the fourth of its kind. We started the first one on May 9th, where our mothers hosted a very interesting session, and we had Professor Chiso Ndukwe Okafor, who spoke to us on coping skills for today and repositioning for tomorrow. After that, we had another one hosted by our youth fellowship, where Mrs. Okechinye spoke to us on how to dare to stand out, given the times that we're in, and how to stay relevant in the face of adversity. On the 23rd of May, the Men's Fellowship had another interesting one, and we had Mr. Shola Dawodu, who taught us on survival strategies for individuals and families. Can we please put our microphones on mute, please? Please, can we, yes, please, can we, yeah, thank you very much. So today we are happy to have one of our own, our father in the Lord, our vicar at St. Augustine's, the Venerable Adelowo Adeshino, to train us on a very topical issue, because you agree with me that everything we do starts with the mind. The mind is that station of our being that controls our lives and our circumstances. Even the Bible says in Proverbs 23 verse 7, that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That heart there refers to your mind. James Allen wrote a timeless book that every one of us must read. If you haven't read it, it's called As a Man Thinketh. So every battle, every innovation, everything that happens, and I can dare to say to us, every experiences we've had in our lives started in our minds. And this pandemic that came has thrown a lot of new things, and you cannot adapt to it. You cannot adjust to the new reality if you do not get the right mindset to do so. And we have today not just an Anglican priest, because when you see when you saw the post, I'm sure some of you that don't know him would say, oh, Anglican priest. He's not just an Anglican priest. He's a seasoned management professional. He's a seasoned management consultant, a trainer, a teacher, a certified coach, a certified counselor. And I'm also proud to be called one of his mentees. He has mentored a lot of successful people. So I would ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to join me this evening to welcome our father in the Lord, the Venerable Adelowo Adeshino, to speak to us on the topic, new normal and new mindset, the post-COVID-19 new mindset. You need a new mindset to adjust to the new normal, because everything has changed. Now, before I hand over to our father in the Lord, I would ask everybody to keep our microphones muted. If you have questions, please send it to the chat room. We will take your questions in due course. So ladies and gentlemen, please give him a thumbs up. You know how to put your thumbs up. That's the way we clap here to welcome our daddy in the Lord, the Venerable Adelowo Adeshino. Welcome, Daddy. I hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chinwe. I want to start this session on a note of thanks given to our technical crew at Bishop Vining, at St. Augustine's Anglican Church. This is not a church program, but over the lockdown, we've been able to have our services online. We've had, as you heard from Chinwe, four community engagements. This is the fourth in the series, and is not going to be the last. The whole idea is to reach out, to encourage people, to impact people for new skills and new competencies, so that their coping energy can be heightened in the new in the new season that we are in. Today, I'm talking on the topic post-COVID-19, new normal, new mindset. Post-COVID-19, new normal, and the new mindset. Let me start by telling you that what we are currently witnessing is not the first devastating pandemic to break out from China. There had been other pandemic that has broken out from China and has reached the whole world. The first was in the 12th century, precisely in the year 1313. There was a pandemic in China, and at the same time, there was a civil war in China. And at that time, half of the population of China died. The plague then moved from China to Europe, to Africa, to Asia. And between 1347 and 1315, this particular plague killed about a third of the population of Europe. The medieval plague of the 12th century killed a third of the population of Europe. In 1835, another plague broke out in the same China that spread throughout the world. And in India alone, the plague of 1835 killed over 2 million people. The source of these statistics, of this historical fact, is How Pandemic Ends. And it's from the New York Times of May 20, 2020. May 10, 2020.
I'm leaving.
There's nothing new under the world. That's the essence of this historical fact. There is absolutely nothing new under the sun. Now, we've been talking about the new normal. What really is this new normal? We've had it said over and over and over. Nobody can tell you what it is, and nobody can tell you what it will be. Nobody can precisely define what the new normal is. Excuse me. Not even the so-called experts, not the so-called specialists can authoritatively tell you what the new normal is. What I can tell you for certain is that it is going to be a period of disruptions. There is going to be rapid political, social, economic changes. And these rapid political and social economic changes will lead to a lot of social dislocation, and it will have a lot of psychosocial circumstances, consequences. An example of the socio-political dislocation is what we are currently witnessing in America. What led to the protest is supposedly the death of Floyd. But the reaction goes beyond that. There are deep-seated problems, deep-seated challenges that will be unheartened because of the so-called new normal. Let me tell you something. Nothing will be the same. Nothing will remain the same again. I'd like to share a personal experience here. Some 2 years ago, go back there. Some 2 years ago, one of the banks I consult for or with had a particular problem. They had sent a young man to India for 2 years to study their computer application system. This young man came, worked for a few months, and then worked to HR and said to them that he doesn't see any reason why he should come to work physically more than 2 days in a week. And they panicked. They called me and I said, you know what? Pay me $250,000 immediately. When I get the alert, I will tell you exactly what to do. I said to them, when I received the alert for the $250,000, if I'd waited and told them what needed to be done, they might not pay me because it was just a straightforward challenge. I said to them that, look, the young people of today don't have a sense of loyalty to work as we did. Those of us who are human capital development, we've been talking long before now about the new place of work. Anyway, cut that long story short, I told them you have to negotiate with this guy. If you don't, he's going to walk out. So negotiate with him such that instead of the 2 days he's asking for, give him 3 days, but have an agreement with him as to what are his key performance indexes are and what are his deliverables. Make sure his deliverables are loaded such that he will be engaged for the full week instead of just the 3 weeks. That was how we resolved that. Now, what seems to be abnormal for a man not to come to work is what is the new normal now. Majority of the people are now working from home. Things cannot and will not be the same ever. And therefore, there has to be a paradigm shift. We need to change our mindset. We need to change our attitude. We need to change our worldview. Slide, please. According to Albert Einstein, the next slide, my dear. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that created them. I want us to say that together wherever we are. You don't need to unmute your mic. Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. So there has to be a paradigm shift. We have to acquire a new mindset. And Buckminster Fuller is reputed to have said, we never change things by fighting the existing reality. We never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes existing reality operate. So what I am counseling today is a change of your mindset, a change mindset. And the theory, the new mindset I am advocating or propagating for us to survive and succeed in the new normal is known as the growth mindset. So we all want to acquire, we want to cultivate, we want to develop, we want to nourish what we call the growth mindset. What is this growth mindset? The growth mindset embraces the idea that a person's basic personality trait can be nurtured, can be cultured, can be developed with good practices and hard work. Generally, it is known that we are not the most productive of people. So we need a new mindset, the growth mindset that encourages us as individuals, as a people, as a nation, to nurture our personality, to cultivate good practices, and embrace hard work. The new mindset says talent is not enough. That talent should be or can be developed through hard work, constructive thinking, good strategies, and productive action. It is not just about the mind. The growth mindset, it is not just about the mind. It is not about just what you believe, but it is about good thinking, constructive thinking, good strategies, productive action, and hard work. That is the growth mindset. According to Professor Carol Dweck, who actually is the proponent of the growth mindset, in a growth mindset, people believe that their most basic abilities can be developed through dedication to hard work. Brains and talent are just the starting point. This view creates the love of learning. So with the new mindset, you have to, talent and brain is not enough. You have to develop a love for learning and the resilience that is essential to accomplish great tasks. Next slide, please. Now, what the growth mindset is not, it is not just wishful thinking. Yes, the scripture says, as a man thinketh, so he is. But you have to have a mindset. You have to change that mindset. You must be willing to think, to plan, and to work hard. It is generally said insanity is doing the same thing, the same way, and expecting a different result. It is not, the growth mindset is not about wishful thinking. It is not about positive thinking. If you can think it, you can have it. No. It is not just about a hopeful attitude. It is hopeful attitude, constructive plans, strategic plans, and hard work. It is not about being optimistic. Oh, all will be well. All will be well if you work hard at it. And it is not about luck. So the growth mindset is not about all those things. The opposite of the growth mindset, it is the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset assumes that intelligent character, creative ability, they are static, they are given. So you can't do anything about it. You are who you are because that's the way you are created. That is a bit fatalistic. It is saying what will be, will be. No, it is not. You are the architect. My father used to tell me as a young boy, you are the architect of your fortune or misfortune. All you need to be great, God has already deposited in you. Let us compare the fixed mindset and the growth mindset that we are advocating. The fixed mindset says intelligence is something that is given. You either have it or you don't have it. The growth mindset says intelligence is something that can be developed. Most people who do aptitude tests will find that they can heighten their level of their intelligence by consistent practice. The fixed mindset tend to think tend to avoid taking challenges. The growth mindset, on the other hand, will always embrace challenges. How can we do it better? What is at the end of the road? They push themselves beyond the limit. The fixed mindset is a quitter. They give up easily, whereas the growth mindset never give up. We've all had the saying, quitters don't win, winners don't quit. So as you develop the new mindset, you see possibilities and therefore you do not quit. The fixed mindset is highly self-critical. I am not good enough. I don't have what it takes. It's because of my birth. If I had another father, if I was born in another area of town, whereas the growth mindset practice self-love, self-compassion, and you may know or you may not know it, that self-love is the first law of survival. If you love yourself, you have every reason to want to live and to do better. The fixed mindset says effort is pointless. Why even try at all? Why bother? The growth mindset sees every effort as a journey, is a process to growth, is a process to development. The fixed mindset disregards criticism. The growth mindset embraces criticism and learn from it. The fixed mindset resent the success of others. Are they the only one? What is it, self? They are always showing off. You cannot attract success to yourself if you resent the success of others. The growth mindset is inspired by the success of others. How do they get there? They read biographies of very successful people. They learn from their mistakes and avoid their mistakes. They learn what they did right and emulate what they have done right. The fixed mindset criticizes and will negatively judge others. The growth mindset will help others and nurture others to grow. The fixed mindset will always see limitations. It is because there is no light. They will always make excuses and they celebrate pity parties. On the other hand, the growth mindset believe in possibilities. I have a wife who has coined a word. The word is an unusual word, or call it a concept. Difficult opportunity. That's the concept created by my wife, Adeyoyin. Difficult opportunity. And the philosophy is that in the middle of every difficulty is an opportunity. With the growth mindset, you see the opportunity. You admit that there are difficulties, you walk through it, around it, to get to the opportunities. Next slide, please. What are the roadblocks? What are the hindrances? What are the limiting factors that will not allow people to cultivate the growth mindset? Number one, it will be difficult if you have a low self-esteem. If you consider yourself not good enough, you will not be good enough. The second is lack of confidence. Every man that is made of God all that you need to succeed in life is already deposited in you. The talent you need, the opportunity you need, you only need to develop a positive self-worth, a positive self-confidence to begin to unearth your opportunities and seek, to begin to develop your confidence, seek opportunities, engage in possibilities, and harness them. Another reason why people don't embrace the growth mindset is the fear of failure. You are only a failure if you don't try at something. If you fail at something, you have at least learned a way not to do those things. There's a book by John Maxwell, which I will encourage you to read. It is titled Failing Forward. Failure is an opportunity to learn. It is only when you fail to try that you are a failure. When you try and you don't succeed, you have at least learned something. For some people, they are not able to embrace the growth mindset because of the fear of success. It may amaze you that some people don't want to succeed because they fear that when they succeed, they cannot manage the success. Some people are perfectionists. Until everything is right, they don't want to take action. And others suffer from inertia. So and then there are people who feel they're stuck. I don't have what it takes. I can't do it. These are some of the roadblocks to the growth mindset. The growth mindset will allow for flexibility and adaptability. And this is one of the reasons you should. In the new normal, change will be constant. So you must be ready to be flexible. You must be ready to be adaptive, to adapt to situation and circumstances. The growth mindset is useful for creativity and innovation, which will ultimately lead to transformation. The growth mindset is useful and it influences resilience. Things will get tougher. You need your adversity management skills. You need your psychosocial risk management skills. And this will be given to you by the growth mindset. The growth mindset encourages purposeful living, achievement, contentment, and satisfaction. Researches have shown that individuals with the growth mindset tend to achieve more than those with the fixed mindset. So if you want to survive, if you want to succeed in the new normal, evidences abound that those with the growth mindset achieve more. So you need to cultivate, cultivate and nurture the growth mindset. Studies have shown that people with the growth mindset have better resilient capacity. They are able to manage adversity and to bounce back quicker. They don't celebrate pity party. They don't wallow in their misfortune. Rather, they get up and their attitude is always, how can I do it better? What is there to do next, even when they fail? What are the benefits of the growth mindset? Number one is ability to push through problems, challenges, and rather than see them as setback, people with a growth mindset see problems or challenges as learning opportunities. And it has been proven that continuous learning makes for growth and development. It makes for a can-do spirit and to see opportunity in every difficult situation. The growth mindset will increase self-esteem, self-worth, and self-confidence. It enabled us to deal effectively with despair, disappointment, and depression. People with the growth mindset can get to the border of depression, but they never, ever get sunk in depression because of their resilience and adversity management skills. They always bounce back. How can you develop the growth mindset? Number one is to know yourself, is to do your personal SWOT analysis. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know your opportunities, and know your threats. And when you know your strength in life, play in the area of your strength. Be mindful of your threats and deal emphatically with your weaknesses. The second way to acquire the growth mindset is to begin to learn to think, to be chameleonic in thinking. To be chameleonic in thinking. What is it to be chameleonic in thinking? The chameleon is one of the most misunderstood animals. When we talk about the chameleon, we always assume that the chameleon is shifty, is sly, it's unreliable, it's ever-changing. That's because of our misunderstanding. Whereas the chameleon is a very proactive animal. Its natural color is green. But when an object that is yellow approaches the chameleon, because it has his head on the side, his eyes on the side of his head, the chameleon will quickly do a thorough environmental scan, and it will adapt to the color. If it is red approaching it, haven't first done the environmental scan, it will adapt because of its flexibility to the approaching color. Likewise, haven't done our SWOT. The second thing we need to do to constructively use the growth mindset is to do what we call a pestle analysis. A pestle analysis, which is a kind of environmental analysis. Number one, the P in pestle stands for the political terrain. What are the current happenings on the political front? For instance, as an investor, you don't want to invest in a political year, in an election year, because the environment are usually very uncertain. There could be thuggery, there could be protest, there could be hooliganism. And usually you find that the flow of investment is always away from any nation during election years. The second is the environmental. The pestle is P-E-T-L-E. P-E-T-L-E. The second is the economic situation of the country or the environment where you are operating. You do your economic scan. What are the interplay of the economy, macro and micro? And with that, you can make constructive and informed decision. The third is your technological scan or technological analysis. What are the effects of technology at that point in time? A couple of years ago, we thought we could not work from home. Now, because of technology, we are all working, or majority of us are working from home. What are the legal factors We're talking about pestle analysis now, and pestle is P-E-T-L-E. The technological factors, the legal factors, and the environmental factors. So do your environmental scan. Be chameleonic in thinking. When you have done this, your pestle analysis, you can then take informed decision and act in a productive manner that will yield survival and gains and success for you. The third in developing a growth mindset is to cultivate a teachable and adaptable spirit. Learn from every situation and from anybody. Learn from people above you. Have mentors. Engage the services of coaches. Even learn from people below you. And that's why we have developed the concept of reverse mentoring. You can learn from children. Number 4, become a lifelong learner. Become a lifelong learner. Number 5, be curious about everything. One of the damaging thing parenting has done for us in Africa is that as children, our curiosity endowment has been killed. You buy a toy for a child, and the child in his curious mind is wondering, how does it work? What does that child do? He will pieces it, wanting to learn how it works. But what do we do in Africa? We beat that child. You are so destructive. The child, from doing that, you are damaging the curiosity endowment in that child. Let people learn to express themselves in their own way. Ask questions. If you learn to ask the right questions, you will get the right answers. Seek for challenges. Don't sit on your comfort zone. The new normal is very disruptive, to be accompanied by changes. So you cannot sit on your comfort zone. Rather, learn to think outside the box and go beyond your limit. Embrace mistakes and failures and learn from them. And if you want to acquire the growth mindset, you must seek feedback. It is said that feedback is the food of champions. Seek feedback. Learn to take constructive one and use them for your growth and development. Learn to disregard damaging feedback, because there will always be constructive and damaging feedbacks. In concluding this session, before we go to the question and answers session, the new normal will be around us for a very long time. Nobody knows for certain for how long. Even when the pandemic itself is over, the season of the new normal will be protracted, it will be long, and it will entail some disruptions. Know that even in disruptions, there are opportunities. Even amidst the disruptions, there are opportunities. In one of the community engagement series we had, the facilitator pointed out to us areas of businesses that are likely to thrive at a time like this. There will be opportunities. There is currently opportunities in telecoms. They are laughing to the bank. Zoom, that was relatively unknown before now, is now an household name. There will be opportunities in agriculture. There will be opportunities in agriculture, value chain. Find areas of gaps you can fill as an individual. Look at problems that you can solve. Be a solution provider. Don't be part of the problem, but be part of the solution, and dedicate yourself to not just hard work, but both hard work and smart work. Hard work and smart work. The final slide, please. My parting word: in the new normal, change is the default mode. There will be rapid and constant changes. People must embrace new challenges and new opportunities, therefore. Be emotionally intelligent, develop creative thinking, cultivate a can-do attitude, and acquire the new mindset, which I am advocating to be the growth mindset. On that note, I want to thank you for participating in this learning session. Should you have questions, contributions, please put up your hand, or we will address the questions that are already in the chat room, and then we can take your contributions and comments.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure we've all learned so much from this training. Thank you very much, sir. The growth mindset is the way to go. John Maxwell said, the only assurance you have that tomorrow will be better is if you decide to grow today. And our daddy has taken his time to train us and show us the things we need to do to grow ourselves. And if you do not know yourself, you can't grow yourself. The place of growth starts from the place of knowledge. That's why he talked about the sword. So like he rightly said, we want to thank our daddy in the Lord. I took so many notes, I can just recite everything he said, but I'm not going to do that. So we'll hand over to daddy to take over and respond to the questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, there are 3 hands up. Chinwe, there are 3 hands up. I will call them in the order. Christina K, what's your question or your contribution? Unmute your mic, Christina, and speak out, please. Is
Thank you very
Christina
much.
still with us?
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Thank you.
Yes, she's here. She's speaking.
Thank you very much for this very enlightening seminar. I quite agree with you that we have to have a growth mindset. And what you have said about why we have to do this, and going back to what this generation is about, is just wrapping up everything. I want to encourage every one of us listening that we can do it. It's just about changing the mindset. We have to loosen up and say that, look, we're going to be like this generation. For as long as we keep seeing ourselves as different from them, oh, this generation, they're useless, we won't get there. So in our businesses, in whatever we're doing, even in the regular, maybe government service, we have
in our
to
personal
do
life.
personal life as well. We have to do things differently for us to move in our lives and also to move this nation. Right now, this nation is very worrisome. There are too many problems, and they are based on our attitudes. So still going back to this mindset we're talking about. God bless you, Reverend.
Thank you, Mrs. Kukolu.
And everybody
nice to have you with us.
My pleasure.
Bode Daramola, please. Your hand is up. Are you still with us?
Good.
Ode?
Yes, definitely. I can't go nowhere. Good afternoon, Daddy.
Good afternoon, my brother clergy.
Yes, and I say a very good afternoon to everyone listening to our Daddy. And I sincerely want to thank him for this opportunity to be able to listen to him over and over again. Because if there's anything I've been able to do at this time, is to move away from that zone of wondering what's going to happen into learning, and which has been very critical for every one who is willing to have an open mind at this time. Like I was telling Daddy yesterday, I said I have about 3 trainings at the same time, but I just have to decide which one I will attend, and I'm sincerely glad that I'm here. Daddy has spoken to us about petal, which is something very important that we all need to do at this particular time. But there's something I would like to mention, because Daddy has spoken about growth, which is the growth mindset and the growth mentality. There's something in psychology, we call it post-traumatic growth, which is a higher level of resilience. Because I know that Daddy has also mentioned resilience. Resilience is being able to recover from a very traumatic experience. And then in recovery, you go back to what you used to be before. And Daddy has clearly told us that we're never going to go back to what we used to be before. But now when we talk about post-traumatic growth, it means that rather than go back to what we used to be before, we move step higher. And I remember when we spoke last night, I was telling him, I said, Daddy, when we chatted, I said, I know you are preparing for today, and I'm just going to listen in. There are 2 things that could happen to us at this time. It's either we degenerate or we grow. And that growth is post-pandemic, or which is called post-traumatic growth. Nobody can remain at the same level they used to be before. And that is what Daddy has been able to actually define for us this evening. And I pray that God will continue to bless you, sir, in the mighty name of Jesus. And for every, I know we have a lot of elderly people in our midst, but for all the young people that are at home, people like me who are just growing, if there's anything that we need to do at this time, which maybe Daddy forget to mention, that is volunteering. Everything is not going to be money. Like young people will ask, Daddy, what's the need for us? I've seen a lot of people, I'll say, try this, and they'll say, how much are we going to make from it? I don't want to waste my data. So that volunteering, I want Daddy to actually talk more to our young people about it. How to volunteer, and then what to expect from volunteering. Thank you, sir.
All right. Giving of yourself, volunteering, giving of yourself, your time, your talent is the best thing that can happen to you. You may not get immediate reward, but it is sowing. And when you sow properly on the right soil, there will definitely be a harvest. So maybe one of the things we'll look at is a session on the benefit or the gain of volunteering. Then thank you very much, Reverend Daramola.
Thank you, Daddy. God bless you, sir.
Amen. God bless you too. Mr. Samuel Idowu's hand is up. Next.
Good evening, my father in the Lord. And good evening to everybody on the platform. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
I'm listening to you.
My pleasure being with you again this evening. You've always been a model for others to follow, and you know me very well. I know you very well. I'm really interested in the aspect of the election year you delve into. The issue of challenges we face during election year, which obviously COVID-19, for instance, will obviously compound. And that's the issue of capital plight, especially for those who are investing in the financial sector. Generally, businesses will be lulled. There'll be a lot of inactivities in virtually all the sectors of the economy. Those who are in the financial sector, they tend to move their fund outside the country in election year, obviously, and it's quite easy to do that. But you find out that those who invest in other sectors of the economy, they suffer within the election year. And that's exactly what happened during this COVID era. A lot of people have even changed their money to dollars, and they have had a lot of capital flight, especially those who are foreign investors. I want to ask, for those that have investment in other sectors, a lot of us on this platform, including me, have investment in other sectors. And we keep facing this election year every 4 years. And of course, it might be compounded based on the new normal we are facing. What are the strategies of managing investments during this election year that will make us at least to stabilize and see through it and not lose our investment so that our investment will continue to grow? Are you clear with the question, sir?
Yes, very, very clear. The truth of the matter is that I said defining new normal, nobody knows. Everything we say are guesstimates, intelligent guesses, which may not be so intelligent. For investment, the first thing to do is your portfolio management. Chinwe is coincidentally, we talked about investment opportunities just before we came on, because she managed, she's managing a wealth management firm. She's the CEO, Chinwe. Your portfolio is very, very crucial and very important. If you diversify your portfolio, your risk is, number one, first properly managed. Moving out money is a rational thing during election year because of the associated risk, especially in Africa. You don't know whether party A or party B will win. You don't know whether they will change policies, because there is always policies from assaulting. So you generally, people will edge against their funds. One of the, I was talking to some young men in church the other day. I said, property market will definitely fall. A lot of people will default on their rents, not because they want to, but it's just the reality of the time. If what we hear on the news is true, that Seplat, for instance, has laid off 8% of their staff, and the remaining 20% are on a salary of 30% of what they used to earn. Paying rent will no longer be priority, for instance. So the first thing is, a lot of what we call investment are actually speculators or speculation, because we don't understand the dynamics and the indices for taking those decisions. Number one, I will always advise people to consult professionals. Number two, I will always advise people to have an investment portfolio rather than have a lopsided in one particular instrument. I'm not going to be able to fully answer your question beyond this for now. I will ask Chinwe if she has one or two things to say. Let's take the benefit of having in-house a wealth manager. Chinwe, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Daddy. You've said it all. It's all about hedging. If you're thinking of moving your things, it goes beyond the political terrain. So if you have your money, you must have a reason for investing. But like you rightly said, most people are just there for trading. And like you said, they just want to get in and get out. And that's where people get caught. Before you can think of, putting your money in any form of investment, there are certain things, critical areas you must look at. What are you investing for? How long are you investing it for? Now you can't say, oh, I want to train my child in America, and then you're saving your money in Naira, knowing that the child will be due to go to school in 15 years time. And in 15 years time, exchange rate would have messed up what you have in Naira. Again, unfortunately for us in our climb here, political, policies, funny policies that government come up with, like Daddy talked about. A government can come in and just come up with a policy that will mess up everything you have done. So it's always good to have a balance, but are you going to push everything you have outside Nigeria when you live here? No. So it's also good to have something here. When you're putting your investment here, think about diversification, understand what you're going into, stay away from the get rich. I mean, a lot of people have spoken to me during this COVID. They want to get into things they don't even know anything about. And I've said to them, keep your money. It's not yet time to do all those things. Forget about the interest rates from the banks being low. The more secure your money is, the better for you. So I think, Daddy, you said it all. If you want to do, consult someone that knows. Our problem here is that we tend to do everything on our own. Meet a financial planner, let a financial advisor, investment advisor take you through this process. Don't join any bandwagon you see. Make sure you have a balanced portfolio, and then make sure that your investment is in line with your appetite, because some people are very, very conservative. You can't be 65 and you're telling me you want to do high risk. If you do high risk and waste all your money, who is going to take care of you at retirement? So you have to look at all those indices. Your portfolio advisor will sit with you, look at what you have, look at your financial holistic life. What do you actually need? It's not all about investment. The place to start is talking about protection. Now, those things you're talking about, that when the political year comes, they get exposed. If you actually protect those things, those investments that you have, then politics or not, you won't be exposed, because your insurance will take care of that. So those are the things that you really need to look at if you're talking about investments, whether within or outside. Diversification is very important. Hedging, for everybody that is knowledgeable and can afford it, you need to hedge. And when you're talking about hedging, it's not, I mean, if you put all your eggs in one basket, it will collapse. But if you put some here and take some out because you have the ability to. Right now, I can tell you for free, you can't move money easily. I tried doing a transaction for somebody and they told me in the bank that CBN has canceled that particular kind of transaction. So the guy is stuck. Do you understand me? But if he had done this earlier, if he had taken good investment decisions earlier, he wouldn't be where he is today. So, but I won't want to take all our time here talking about investments and all. Daddy has done a good job. Don't be scared. Keep doing it, but please understand what you're going into. Understand the system you're investing in. Understand your own investment appetite, and terrain before you go into all that. So yes, diversification is good. Hedging is good, and then constructing a very efficient portfolio, working with your portfolio managers is also very good. You have friends that can advise you, and we're happy to help you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chinwe. Because of our time, I was going to share one or two personal experiences, but I won't delve into that now. I want to note that I got a couple of messages telling me that they couldn't join because we only have the space for 100 people. And we had 100. I don't know whether we will repeat this. But for those who couldn't join us, you can look at our Facebook page and YouTube. It's being streamed live. So you can always get on there in case we are not able to repeat this session. Now we have Galaxy 6. Please tell us your name and we'd like to have your comment or question.
Venerable, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
My name is Odunsi.
I didn't know you are joining us, sir.
Yeah,
nice to have you with us, sir. My parishioner who worships in Bola. Go ahead, sir. Nice to have you with us.
That's a very, very good presentation. We couldn't have gotten anything better than that, particularly at this point in time. I enjoyed everything you've been saying. My take, somebody mentioned, dealt with it a little bit. The present generation, their attitude is more of quick fixes. And with this post-COVID, quick fixing attitude will not be within the the point we're discussing about the growth mindset, because they want to take immediate benefit. My question is, how to assist the younger generation to move away from this quick fix-it attitude for a better future? I know you have one or two things to say about that. Just quite about 2 hours ago, I just talked to a young lady who had just finished her NYSC and looking for a job. And we said so many things. And of course, I was a little bit concerned, because what I was saying, I told her, I said, listen, this time I need, number one, she doesn't even have, she's not IT savvy. So we dealt with that. Look, in the present day now, whether you want to say Google Boli, you must be IT savvy. So that is what you need to go and first of all do. And we have so many things, so many experiences like that. So I just quickly brought that one in as part of this conversation. So what can we best approach now? And because if you don't start now, post-COVID, like you already pointed out, there are a lot of uncertainties after that, but we can conquer them through preparation. That's just my quick request, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's nice to have you with us. As for the younger generation, number one, we must try to understand them. Their attitude, their worldview differs completely from us. And the earlier we begin to understand them, the better for all concerned. But in terms of value, attitude, moral, survival skills, the home has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of gap in parenting and upbringing. We are not passing the right values to our children. That's one. Then I also am of the opinion that all our educational curriculum must be totally changed from primary school to universities. Functional education, experiential learning is what we need now. And then a lot of people like you who have the right integrity must be able to stand and mentor and coach and guide the children of today. Who are the mentors that they see? In your days, you saw professionals and you aspired to be one. Today, they see Naira Mania and the like doing well. And those are the people mentoring them. So there's a wide gap. As a society, we need to go back to the drawing board and get our value system right. And the church has a role to play, which we need to work hard to do more at it. Thank you very much for your contribution, sir. Galaxy,
thank you. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us. Galaxy J7, unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, okay. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I really enjoyed this lecture on growth, but thank you, Daddy, for.
Who is the one speaking? Can you identify yourself, please?
Okay, this is Onyenuche Kenechukwu.
Okay.
Okay, I enjoyed every piece of it, but I am somewhat looking to see the you just omitted the part where government has a role to play.
Where
in,
what?
The government and other relevant stakeholders has a role to play in this growth process. Because you would agree with me, sir, that there's a level one gets to in life and it's very difficult. It can't grow again. We take, for example, I'm not talking about my generation now, I'm talking about those that have gotten to a particular level in life and, they have to leave, you know, make a U-turn and learn certain things that, you know, were not a part of their generation. How do they cope? What are the protections the government and other agencies of government are providing to see that there is specialization, and then there is everybody just fits into, you know, that that specific calling, you know, he or she has learned over a period of time. So that's my question. What role should government be playing? You know, because not everybody.
It will amaze you to start that. For me to start that, the change you want starts from you. Okay, we're quick to point to government in our environment. Who is government? It's you and I. And if we are able to hold government accountable, if we are able to, when they rig elections, we are able to wrestle power from them, then we can begin to change. Otherwise, we will all just be pointing accusing fingers at the government, and you and I, we are the government. Now, what I'm also going to say is that if you do the right thing and I do the right thing, things get better. We all do the wrong things, and we all expect the right things. There is no doubt there is role for good governance. There is no doubt there is need to institutionalize the right values, the right cultures, to put in place infrastructure and good services in health, in education. But that change needs to start from you and I. We have gotten the kind of government we deserve. Until we get tired of them and we are ready to chase those crazy bald head out of town, as Bob Marley put it, then we are going to have the kind of government we have now. So thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your question.
Very additional,
Daddy, we have the Lord Bishop here.
Yes, sir. My Lord the Bishop, sir. I give the floor to you, my Lord.
Well, I want to thank you, sir, for this inspiring, I will call it conference that I have enjoyed myself. And I thank everyone for joining us at this important program. Like the speaker has said, if this country will be good, it must start from every home. And every home, we are the society. And we've gotten the leadership that we deserve, because leadership is taken from the people. The leadership will not come from anywhere, but from the people. After this governor might have gone, another person is coming there, it will still be one of us. And so if we are corrupt, we cannot expect a better nation. And it has to start now. Everybody is tired of the kind of leadership we have enjoyed since independence. Then what are we doing to ensure that in the subsequent years, particularly because of our children? I'm not even particular about those of us who are a little bit of age, but I'm particular about children that are coming, because a lot of our children that are coming today, they want to make it by all means. And when many of them are accosted, you see when they talk, you pity the future of this nation. And these children are our future, whether we like it or not. And even those of us who are parents too, we don't have matters. We'll expose our children to too many wealth. And by the time they are so exposed to too many wealth, it's difficult to censor them eventually, because they're already adjusted to big life. And big life is always very dangerous for children who are not sure of tomorrow. Once again, I thank all of you for joining us, and I pray that more of this will come our ways. We need it, because we have learned personally, and I can say I have a lot to apply to my own own ministry, my own life as a pastor. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Amen.
Well, thank you very much, my Lord. I am glad you have joined us. We had a private chat, and I told you that this is the fourth in the series. There will be more of this. This is a means by which we have engaged not just our church community, but the large community throughout this season. We will definitely do more. On this session, we only have room for 100. We have had over 100 because a lot of people have been contacting us that they couldn't get in. The session, like I said, is on our Facebook page. It's being streamed live, and it is also on our YouTube page. For those of you who could not join us, you can still get the materials from there. And we will invite most of you for our next session. Thank you very much, my Lord. Another hand is up. Muiwa.
And we have some questions on the chat box. Can we take some of this? We have questions in the chat box. We have one from Mrs.
Thank you.
Oni.
Yes, Mrs. Funke Oni is one of our members.
Environment is a key factor in growing mindset. What is the way for people in the local environment? That's her question. The way for people in the local environment to grow their mindset.
Well, we know of the nature-nurture argument. Do you have it or do you learn it? I take the view that it takes both. The environment where you are born and the kind of experiences, the learning experiences you are exposed to. My take is that our national development program will need to be reorientated to be rural-based. What we have attempted, and it has failed, and it will continue to fail, is to start development from the tertiary level. We want to build industry. I am one of those who say we don't even have industries in Nigeria. What we have are assembly plants. We need to go back to the rural area, learn to cultivate our cassava properly, learn to add value to that cassava, make it into starch, make it into food grade cassava, make it into alcohol, and then industry will naturally grow from there. And when you go back to the rural areas and those things are there, infrastructure will grow. And there will now be urban-rural migration because employment opportunities, infrastructure, and things will be there. And schools will be sited in those areas. Health centers will be sited and development will go. But that is the thing the government needs to address at the moment. We don't have industries, truth be told. So we need to go back to agric. Look, we just did our rail systems. I don't see any reason why we can't make it to be as manual as possible. We have human resources in abundance. We have about 43 million people unemployed. If you engage them laying those roads, laying those tracks, instead of bringing Chinese to do it, those people will earn money and there will be multiplier effect from that money. It will impact our rural environment. Unfortunately, that discussion is beyond what we are taking at the moment, Mrs. Tony, but I can feel you. I mean, children in private schools are in school, so to speak, online. Children in public school in some rural areas are out of school. When school reopen, they are going to write the same exams. They are already at a disadvantage. May God help us in this nation.
Amen.
What's the next one?
Can I come in now, sir?
Muiwa.
Guys, okay. Let's have him, then we'll go back to the chat.
Okay.
Sir, thank you very much. But my contribution is that we have 3 groups in this country, and each person is moving in different direction. That is the church, the government, and the society. And there doesn't seem to be a meeting point among the 3. Everybody is moving in different direction. How do we, on a continuous basis, have these three arms reconciled so that everybody can speak with one voice, we can move in one direction and make progress? Let me just also now add to your point about processing agricultural products in Africa. I can tell you from vantage position that this is the problem America is having with
additional now.
Additional of African development. Additional is insisting that agricultural products from Africa should not be exported raw. There should be value added in Africa. There should be extensive processing in Africa, and Africa should only export processed goods. And America doesn't like this. And that is where they're after his neck. He is prepared to pump money into agricultural processing in Africa. And God willing, if he gets another term, another tenure, he is still ready to pump money into processing agricultural goods from Africa so that there will be value added. Africa will not be exporting raw materials. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me first address your first comment. Yes, the church has lost its rightful place in society. For instance, the Anglican Church used to be the state church. That's why the church at Marina is not too far from the government house in Marina. Up to the time of Gowon, they consult with us, and we have influence in decisions and policy making. But unfortunately, we have become, in inverted comma, a secular society. And some of the influence is lost. I am an advocate of reformation in the church, because when we become more powerful, we can take our stand, we can make our pronouncement, and we can stand by it. But one of the tricks politicians have used is to divide us. Can used to be a force to be reckoned with. But by the time you make the like of Orisha Jaffo, the president of Can, we lost our pride of place. We need to come back. It was the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church, the Orthodox churches that started Can. Now the so-called Pentecostal have taken it. It is time that we form a new body, a bloc that will speak wholly for the interest of what is good and right, for the church itself, and for the nation and the citizenry of the nation. That's my take on the first one. The second one, you are very right. Additional, not my relative by chance, is trying to do what is best for Africa. What is best for Africa is not in the best interest of America. Neither is it in the best interest of China. If you look at what is going on now, I wish our leadership will be more enlightened and more educated to begin to wrestle power back from them. America has nothing to say with what is happening in ADB, going by the governance and the rule there. But again, they are protecting their own interest. Whereas the people in leadership here, once their pocket is lined, they will forgo their own and forgo the interest of the nation. After all, we are still reaping the dividends of democracy from Abacha's loot. That's the bone of the problem. Thank you, Brother Muyiwa Kukului. Thank you for joining us and thank you for your contribution. I didn't know big men like you have time for this kind of thing. It's gladdening to know and it's encouraging. We will do more of it. Thank you. Chinwe, over to you. Who is the next in the chat room?
Okay, thank you, sir. We have a question from Mr. Emphasis Aziz. He said, what should be the role of financial accessibility and reliance in deepening one's growth mindset? And how does one go about it to ensure it doesn't become a stumbling block?
As the Bible says, money answereth all problems. We need to, from a very early age, to teach the culture of savings. We are a spending people. We are a consumer nation. We don't save. We need to first embrace the culture of saving. When you save and you have enough in savings, you can begin to talk of investments. You can begin to talk of contributing your capital to your enterprise. You can begin to approach financial institutions. And when they say you need to make certain contribution to this enterprise, you are near there already. So again, the function of the home in imbibing the right culture, the culture of hard work, the culture of savings into our children from a very early age, and then we can begin to teach. A lot of us are financial illiterate. People who are trading, they're already eating their capital, or they are already over trading, and then they find that they run into financial mess. So we need to, the home need to teach savings, investment, and things, and then we need institutional training. And then a lot of our financial institutions in the formal sector, what they're doing is not core banking. The regulatory authorities need to do their duties to ensure that they do what they are meant to do and do it properly. Again, Chinwe, this is your turf. You may have one or two things to add to what I've said.
Daddy, you've done a great job at what you said. And another thing I'd like to tell us here is, let's not be so focused on finance. Yes, we need money for everything. But you need to create the ideas, because I was just discussing with a friend this afternoon, and I said, if you give somebody with a wrong mindset 10 million because he claims or he says he doesn't have money, he's broke, you want to help a friend, he will blow that 10 million because his mindset is wrong. He doesn't have that mindset, and then challenges of life can throw you into that sphere. So whenever people talk about finance, I try to tell them, let's leave finance. Let's deal with you as an individual. Let's be sure you have the right mindset. You've just taught us how to have a growth mindset, move away from the fixed mindset, because most people that talk about finance, they believe when they have money, they have it all. But I'm telling you, you don't really need to have it all. You need to have the right mindset so that when you have that money or you have access to that money, you'll be able to apply it. So I wouldn't want to add much to what you've said. I will also encourage us to just move away from that money, that fixation on money. Look at yourself. Look at your mindset.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chinwe. Let me just add a practical experience of what happened when COVID-19 started. We all started doing palliatives, giving food. And I know that this cannot be sustained. It's not sustainable. We gave money. It's not sustainable. I belong to a professional association. And then we decided that we are not going to give money. We are not going to give food. There is a gap in the management of COVID-19, and that is the psychosocial risk management, the counseling. And then we decided that we will use our money rather than give the money to acquire a telephone line that people can call free. And then we can counsel them. And that has paid off handsomely. So much so that this week, LASUT has approached us that please, frontline health workers are in need of this service for the whole of Lagos State. We want to embrace it. So, like you rightly said, it is not about money. As I said in my delivery, look for a gap. Look at a way of filling that gap. Look for a problem. Look at a way of solving that problem. I make bold to say, whatever you do and you solve problem, whatever you do and you add value in terms of business enterprise, you may not be a Dangote or an Adenuga, but once you are solving problem and adding value, surely you will make money. You won't be excessively rich, but you will be comfortable. So look for a problem to solve. Be a problem solver and don't be part of the problem. Thank you very much.
The next question from Galaxy A20 says, many thanks, Venerable Sir, for this enlightening session. Some people have pointed out that many jobs in the corporate world will be phased out by artificial intelligence. How do you want to address this challenge, sir?
Well, like I said, those of us from as late as the 70s when I graduated, we've been talking of the future of work, at least when I begin to know it from 79. We've been talking of the future of work, and there has been that fear that computer, artificial intelligence, robotic will take over all jobs. That is not going to happen. Robotic will take over a lot of jobs. Artificial intelligence will take over a lot of jobs. But you need to begin to reskill yourself. What are the areas of opportunities? Artificial intelligence will not take, my wife and I were talking about our development, our retirement, and we are looking at different options. One of the options we are considering is organic vegetable farming. Artificial intelligence will not take care of that. And many people will want to eat healthy because nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So there is a gap somewhere that if you think well enough, there will be job opportunities. But as for white-collar jobs, they are gone. Since the beginning of this COVID-19, I needed to replace a driver. In the last 2-3 weeks, I have interviewed a number of drivers. What really, really amazed me is that all the drivers I have interviewed are graduates. The least is an HND holder. And one of them said to me that, look, I left university 5 years ago. I've been looking for this job. The job is not coming. I know how to drive. I can drive properly. Why don't I drive and earn the 40 or 50,000? One of them is a teacher in a private school, earning 15,000, teaching physics, biology, and chemistry. Is grossly overworked for 20,000. So the reality is that our educational systems are not functional education. You don't have any life skills to work with. And our schools are no schools. In the last 3 months, none of our federal or state university is functional, only the private, and they will still graduate. So some of our graduates are even unemployable before they leave the university. They will come out with the first class, they will come out with the second class, but they are no good to themselves, not to talk of the society. So we must begin to look at functional education, and people must hold their destinies in their hands. What can I do? If I'm thinking of retiring early from the priesthood and from what I'm doing to go and do vegetable farming, why can't a young man do it? So that answers the question for that person.
Okay, sir. We have from Galaxy A30S. I'd like to know more about the various types of organized volunteerism that older persons can engage in outside volunteer work in church. That's from Dr. Abiodun.
Pardon?
Dr. Abiodun would like to know more about the various types of organized volunteerism that older persons can engage in outside volunteer work in church. What other types of things can older people volunteer to do?
They can mentor younger ones. They can teach skills depending on what they have. I know that person very well. Dr. Abiodun is my childhood friend's wife. I don't know whether the husband is still my friend, but she's more my friend than the husband, who Professor Abiodun, who we grew up together. Dele, there is a lot you have to offer. You have a PhD in chemistry. By the virtue of your job, you have traveled the world. You can share, even sharing your experiences, your growing up experiences will be value adding to children around you. And the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, your morals are things that younger ones could learn from. So you can mentor women's group, you can mentor young girls, you can talk about relationship to people. Let me share an experience with you. A number of you know that I try to go to East Africa maybe 2 or 3 times in a year. I enjoy going there because I learn a lot. There's a friend of mine in Kenya. She does crocheting. So she started forming women in her village into cooperatives. So she would buy the thread from Europe and teach them to do it to global standards. Number one, these women were able to earn a decent living. She will give them the crochet, she pays them, she sells. The cooperative make money and whatever, and she takes her money. Now these products are being exported. So, Dr. Abiodun, you have skills, you have competencies, you have been privileged to travel the world. You have a PhD. You can teach in schools voluntarily. You can teach social skills privately. You can relate to older women. You can relate to women your age. So the space for you is very wide to operate on. We can talk one-on-one to see what areas can also be beneficial to you. Thank you. Who is next?
Thank you, sir. The last one we have here is a comment from Mrs. Bimbola, from Bimbola Daisy Dining. So let me not put any preface.
She's actually, we had people join, she's joined us from DRC Congo. So we had people from England, we had people from Canada, we had people from Kenya, we had people from South Africa. She's joining us from DRC Congo. So what's her comment?
Okay, she said, good evening, sir. Many thanks for the session, quite informative. You started by recalling history of several pandemics centuries back, and a couple of them emanated from China. History, they say, repeats itself.
I can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, she said, you started by recalling history of several pandemics centuries back, and a couple of them emanated from China. History,
Yeah.
they say, repeats itself. One therefore wonders what the World Health Organization was doing that could not nip this at the bud rather than allowing it to spread all over. My comment above is probably more of a comment, but if you have anything to say, please share what is your thought on it.
Well,
That the World Health, yeah.
These things come, it's like the Bible says, a thief comes in the night, he won't tell you. In Kenya, we had invasion, or in East Africa generally, we have invasion of locusts recently. It cannot be predicted. It cannot be predicted. There is a controversy between China and America as to who started this. But if you read between the line, there is a lot the two nations were not telling us. For some of the things I read, the experiment for this COVID-19 was already being done in America. They moved it to the lab in China. They are the one funding it. So it has been known that pandemic breaks out every 100 years or so, or plagues, or bubonic plagues, or whatever they're called. But as to when they will come, and then we also know that China is being accused of not coming out early enough for it to be nipped in the bud. So there are a lot of human factors that will make it very unpredictable for when accidents are made, nuclear accidents, for instance. No nation is going to admit that we did these things wrong. So that's why it's very difficult to predict when it will happen and how to best manage it without the kind of needless loss of life.
Okay, sir. There's a question for a youth. That's why we're taking it before we round up, because I think we've gone beyond that timing. It's from Uche Nambonu. He says, since our educational sector is not such a functionary one, what is your advice to students? As it is now, most of us are of the idea that we going to school is just for the certificate, which will end up not being so much useful to us. So what's your advice to the students?
Learn a functional skill. When my son was doing A-level, I am made to understand that the governor in Lagos State then, I will not mention his name, his son was also doing A-level. The young man was going to learn carpentry after school. The young man is a lawyer today. He has carpentry skills. My son was learning barbing so that when he was doing A-level, so he can, when I'm not able to send him money at the university, he can barb head and collect money. So instead of wasting your time, I mean, it's good to have book knowledge, to be exposed to Western education, but also acquire a functional skill. Learn carpentry, learn block making, we don't have artisans in this nation again. If you see a tile well laid, or you see a carpentry work properly fitted with regard to details and finish, it is done by a man from Cotonou or Togo. So our youth should acquire functional skills. Use your head and your hand, your head, your heart, your head as your brain, your heart for your passion, and your hand for functional work, and you will not lack. The young man who has asked that question has a cousin who is an electrician. That guy is forever busy. So I will advise you, along with your Western education, acquire a functional skill.
Thank you so much, Daddy. The last one we have here is from Dr. Koye, but he's looking for advice on farming. So I think he would just reach out to you and you would give him the advice, because we've gone past our time.
He's reaching out to me privately. That would be consulting. I will send him invoice.
Yes, sir. So
But he's my very good friend, so I will be willing to talk to him.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. At this point, want to thank everyone. I'll invite our mother in the Lord, Mamaya and Mrs. Adeyoyi Adeshina, to give us the vote of thanks. We thank our Lord Bishop for staying with us up till this time. Mommy, please unmute yourself and give the vote of thanks.
Please pardon me to check. The Bishop of Egba told me he was going to join. My Lord, the Bishop of Egba, are you still with us? He probably has dropped out. Let me thank those.
No, I'm there. I'm here. I'm here.
All right, sir. My Lord, sir, do you want to say a word, sir?
I just thank God for this opportunity, and I hope that when next session will come, we also want to benefit again. It has blessed us, and I know that it will bless majority of the upcoming generation to forge ahead and to face the challenges ahead and resolve issues easily. You have done very well, sir. I really appreciate you and all your team members. God bless you, sir.
Yes, sir. My Lord, I promise you, charity begins at home. If you want me to run this for your clergy, I will bring my team together, and as many people as you want to put together in Abeokuta. We have the capacity to take 100. We had 100 and there were people, there was an overflow. I will be willing to do this for my home diocese and Egba West and Egbasa.
Thank you very much.
With the permission of the Bishop of Lagos West. Yes, sir. With the permission of my Lord Bishop of Lagos West, because I still carry that license. That's my...
Okay. Baba Lagos West, kindly permit a venerable to help us here.
Approved, sir.
Thank
you.
Thank
you, my Lord. Thank you, my Lord. And you know, I want to thank everybody who has worked with me behind the scene. I especially want to thank the technical group in the church. Particular mention must be made of Chijioke, Namdi. I don't want to mention surnames. Namdi, Emeka. I must thank my able curates, the Reverend Sheung Womojuigbe. We've worked together very well. It's been very supportive. All through this season, we've had a functional church. We've been having full service because of the dedication of those working behind the scene. I thank you publicly. The Lord himself will acknowledge you.
Thank you, sir.
Openly.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir.
Mama Yat,
yes, sir.
I thank you. I couldn't have done anything without you. She was actually the one moving my slides for me so that I can concentrate on the delivery. Thank you, my dear wife. God bless you. You are asked to say the vote of thanks.
Sir, you have already said the vote of thanks. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so very much for coming. Before I say the vote of thanks, as an educationist, I think I need to say a comment to the last question about how students, the relevance of the curriculum as we have it today. And just to add to all that has been said, the new normal now is that whatever it is you need to, whatever certification in terms of education you need now, you can get that online. And so the most practical thing to do and relevant thing to do is to imbibe all of the mindset qualities that has been talked about. Do your SWOT analysis, do a study of your environment. What are the opportunities emerging in this period? And whatever practical skills you need to engage in this period, you need to make that your priority. Other forms of certificates, degrees, and all of that can be obtained online. And so, and you can also do it on the side in addition to whatever you are doing. So I think survival is the most important thing now. And getting a university degree right now is not a survival strategy. And there's no guarantee that when you come out of university with your certificate, you will get a job. And so I think that should be the focus. And I think that should be the mindset of even schools now and tertiary institutions in providing programs of study for children. So that is my advice to the young man that asked that question. And if you're already in school, we're not saying drop out of school, but while you are doing that, look at what skills you can begin now in the immediate, not postgraduate, to acquire. Having said that, I'd like to thank everyone for staying with us from when we started this program. I once again join to recognize the presence of the diocesan of the Lagos West Diocese, our Father in the Lord, the Right Reverend Nicola Odedi. I acknowledge the diocesan men, brothers and sisters who have joined this program. I was gratified when at the beginning I saw that we had hit the mark of 100, and even 2 hours into the program, we still have about 64 participants in the room. I'd like to thank you very much. As was said at the beginning, this is the 4th in our community engagement series, and I'm sure that there will be many more to go. Post-COVID and going forward, the new normal. And so I'd like to encourage you to stay with us, to join us, be a part of this program every time that it comes on. We hope that we will always have topical issues of interest, and issues that will spur growth and development in every one of us. And so I leave you with the blessing of the Lord God Almighty, and ask that the Lord will bless you, and pray that He will give you the that you need to move forward, just move forward, but be relevant to your generation, your time, and to our nation at each time. Thank you so very much. God bless.
Thank you so much, Mommy. We would like to call our Father in the Lord, our Lord Bishop, to say the closing prayer and the blessings. Our Daddy, the Right Reverend Dr. Olushola Odedeji.
Praise God from whom
all blessings flow.
Praise Him, our creatures
below.
praise
Him above in heavenly home.
Praise
Father in heaven, we thank you for your divine presence in the midst of your people. Thank you for the strength and the ability given to the speaker of today, our Father in God, Lord Adeshina. Thank you for those that have supported this program since the commencement of the series. Thank you for all your children that have listened today. We pray that as we depart, we will never depart from your presence.
Amen.
Amen.
With your presence.
Amen.
We dwell under the canopy of your protection.
Amen.
Amen.
And from the present trouble that we are going through.
Amen.
Amen.
Forever, living person. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Father.
Every one of us, it will be unto joy.
Amen.
It's permitted to touch any of us.
Amen.
Praise your name forever. Through Jesus
Christ.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord,
Fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. You will be notified of our next community engagement. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, my Lord. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can Now let's see ourselves.
Very.
Well done, Chinwe. Well done, Chinwe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very educative. Thank you, Uncle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chinwe.
Daddy.
Thank you,
Thank
Venerable.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, sir. Thank you,
Lovely
sir.
time.
Bye-bye.
Oga will go.
Thank you. Daddy, thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Sir, is the lecture recorded?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If we can have
Canon, how are you, sir? I didn't know. Canon Olotu, I didn't
Mr.
know you were with us.
Lizzie.
I have to join you in the car. I'm far away from you. Thank God for
Okay, so you have. Thank you very much.
moving on the move.
You will all be invited to our next community engagement. Ayo, thank you. Charles, all the way from England. Now is my baby.
Your baby is doing well, Daddy. Look at your baby.
Hey,
that's great.
Chiwe, thank you. Chiwe, well done.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you.
Daddy, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank God for you.
Daddy.
Thank you. You've done
Thank
very
you,
well.
sir.
Mr. Lizzie, well done. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Koiga, nice to see you.
No, nice one.
Thank you very much,
Thank you. God bless you all.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, okay, go on.
My brother, Verbal Ajayi, you are in your car too.
Thank you, Daddy.
That was a good one. All the way from Ishagari, but I was in
Is it recorded?
All right.
Congratulations.
Hello, Venerable, is it recorded?
It's on our YouTube page. It's on our YouTube page. You can get the link from our It's on Facebook and on YouTube. ITD, nice to see you.
That was nice. I want.
Well done, big bro.
Thank you, Denrele.
Bless you.
Sorry you guys couldn't join. We had capacity for
We joined
100.
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we joined eventually.
Mayokun, I have ordered your cane when you get back to Lagos. All right, thank you, everybody. God bless you.
Okay then. Bye.
Bye-bye.